Warren Buffett has come out and said that he's willing to bet $1 million that depositors won't lose money from bank failures.
I made that offer over in Tokyo, incidentally, that I haven't heard from anybody that wants to take up my $1 million bet on whether the public will lose money if they have a demand deposit at a bank, no matter what the size.
Buffett said that he would be willing to wager $1 million that no taxpayer would lose deposits due to a bank failure this year, thanks to the FDIC, an entity he said is poorly understood by the public. The FDIC insures deposits up to $250K, although US authorities guaranteed all deposits in Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, two of the largest bank failures in US history. So, yes, they guaranteed SVB Bank and Signature Bank, but the question is, will they be able to guarantee all future potential banks that may fail? Will they guarantee all deposits in these banks, even the smaller ones, even the regional ones? Buffett says yes, others are more skeptical. He actually even went as far to bet his own money that banks would not fail.
I've got my bank, I've got my own personal money, and I'm probably above the FDIC limit. I've got it with a local bank, and I don't worry about it in the least.
So I wouldn't say probably, I'd say he's definitely above the $250,000 deposit limit with a net worth of $110 billion, I'm sure he is. But you need to remember that Buffett also has most of his personal money in Berkshire Hathaway, so I'm sure the small amounts of cash that he does have personally in banks doesn't mean, a whole heap to him, as opposed to someone who had saved all of their life and put this money in the bank. The big question is for people that have more than $250,000 in banks, will their money be safe?
Although there's a $250,000 limit on FDIC, the FDIC and the U.S. government and the American public have no interest in having a bank fail and have deposits actually lost by people. We had a demonstration project the weekend of Silicon Valley Bank, and the public is still confused.
Okay, so the government doesn't have any interest in not allowing people to lose money in banks, but I think that if everything was so secure and safe as Warren Buffett says, then the SEC should just come out and just guarantee all of deposits. Put it in writing so that everyone knows that their money is safe. Just like Bill Ackman said that they should on his Twitter accounts. However, they have not done so yet, and it's pretty obvious why people are worried for their money, because they don't have their guarantee above the $250,000 limit. And in this life, if it's not guaranteed from a big institution, there is always a risk, even a small one. So I do slightly disagree with Buffett here. I say the incentives, yes, for governments are not to let people lose their money, but you can understand it from other people's perspectives too. They don't have it in writing, so they're a bit worried. Anyway, that's in terms of people's deposits in banks. Buffett thinks they're safe. But from a business standpoint, from a shareholder's perspective, Buffett thinks banks are a very risky venture.
Because we keep $128 billion or whatever it was at the end of the quarter, and we want to be there if the banking system temporarily even gets stalled in some way. It shouldn't. I don't think it will, but I think it could. And I think that the incentives in bank regulation are so messed up, and so many people have an interest in having them messed up, that it's totally crazy.
So there you go. From a depositor's perspective, Buffett thinks that your money is safe, even if you're above the $250,000 limit. From an owner's perspective, from a shareholder's perspective, there's a lot of risk. And you can see this because Buffett has sold out of basically all of his bank stocks. And the one that he didn't sell out of was Bank of America. And the reason he didn't was basically out of loyalty, because he proposed the initial investments in the first place. So just from a loyal standpoint, he doesn't want to sell. But I think that he would actually like to sell. Banks, the banking sector just has a lot of problems. Managers are doing dumb things. There's a lot of bad commercial loans out there, as Munger has put it. Just a lot of businesses being run the wrong way, too risky. Actually, Charlie Munger does explain very simply why banks are failing.
No, I don't think having a bunch of bankers, all of them are trying to get rich, leads to good things. But I think a banker should be more like an engineer. He's more like into avoiding trouble than he is getting rich.
Yeah, and they could do fine.
They can do fine that way. And I think we had a big mistake when we created a bank where everybody who joins it plans to get rich.
Yeah.
It's a contradiction in values.
An engineer builds a bridge to make sure that even if you put 10 times the weight possible on it, they design it with safety in mind, that it will be safe even if you put 10 times the weight on it. Bankers, on the other hand, they want to get rich ahead of minimizing risk. Who cares about minimizing risk? And the banking system allows them to do so because it often incentivizes managers to go for short-term profits at the expense of long-term financial health. They should be like an engineer, as Munger says. In an ideal world, they should be like an engineer and try their best to avoid risk. But sometimes that allure of that sweet check is too much. At some points, they get too risky, they loan out too many loans, these loans turn out bad, and things start to fail.